Hey folks, it's me again, Al, over here at One Man Indie, and today I wanted to come back to you with another World Building Wednesday post or companion video. This one is going to be a companion to an idea that I came up with for the stream that I had last week. What happened while I was waiting, an idea came to mind. The term was votive. It put this idea in my head of an actual votive candle. I had the idea in my head, but I wanted to make sure that it was correct, so I did a quick search on Google for what the term votive means, knew it was correct. By the way, the term votive actually means something that is consecrated or devoted in the accordance with a vow, something of that nature. If I didn't get it right, I'll just probably put the definition up on the screen. You can probably read it there. Now that I had an idea of that, my brain kind of went in all these different directions on how I could use this. So I was thinking of who would be the person that was using this in the accomplishment of a vow. And all these things kind of started coming to mind, and all these thoughts and ideas started spiraling through my head. And by the time I got through with it, I had like 4 basic concepts that are all interconnected. I have a lot of lore here, and I'm kind of proud of myself because this is like, I wouldn't say like it's a total turn from my example video and my example article on my blog, which I'll post a link to the blog as well. But it's a change in theme, I think, in regards to it. But I think people, when they've read it and once they've had a chance to use it, because I will also leave a download link to this again at the end. This will be a companion video to that. I actually released it a couple of days back on my blog. So if you'd like to, feel free to check it out. Let's just see what comes out of today's video. So right now, let me show you what I came up with in terms of the actual votive object. The man returns the blade back into his robes and pulls out a bloodied skull and a tuft of hair. After placing the skull in the blood pool center with the hair atop it, the man extends both arms and utters a short prayer. For the Red Lady. Slowly, ripples form within the small pool's surface, leaving the skull undisturbed. Rippling turns into bubbling, which in turn becomes a turbulent churning. With a will of its own, the blood pool quickly flows towards the skull, crawling over its surface. A small blood tornado spins, turning inwards on itself atop the skull's crown. The spinning mass slowly congeals into a cylindrical shape. A violent ruby flame bursts into existence. The cursed light burns fitfully from a single crimson-colored candle. Pretty cool, I think. The crimson votive, when I was thinking about it, I was thinking, okay, well, if it's crimson, why is it crimson? And then I thought of it, well, wait a minute. If it's crimson, what else is crimson? What else is red? It's like, well, blood is red. It's like, okay. So if it's a blood red candle, what if it's made out of blood red wax? So I was picturing some guy sitting down or kneeling in front of it after they had successfully killed someone, like say it was maybe a pact of vengeance or something of that nature. And they were offering this to a specific kind of deity that kind of dealt with it kind of stuff. When I thought about how this candle can be used in, say, like a fantasy setting, you can use it as a way of, say, if a number of people who worship this particular deity were able to collect and or make these candles, say from like the blood of like kings, monarchs, etc., and they used this to actually summon this deity to their world. I also had one idea where it could be like, say, the religious, I guess, focus for a psychopath, kind of like Silence of the Lambs, the guy called Wild Bill. He used the butterflies to kind of symbolize his need to transform or whatever. So I kind of figured that this one could be something that he found this in some kind of weird shop or something like that. And the shopkeeper was offering it to him, and he felt like he was fascinated by it, and he felt like the actual candle was like whispering to him so he could offer blood sacrifices to the spirit that's attached to it. Again, this is just like an idea. You can spin it in any way you want. But aside from the actual votive candle itself, I was thinking about the kind of people who would actually be making this type of vow. So I thought about it for a while, and I kept going over and over and over in head with the kind of idea that was actually established with the candle. And so I came up with this idea to follow right along with it. This will kind of continue the same narrative. Hope you like it. The blood red flame dances seductively before the eyes of a lone supplicant, staring intently at it. He is a man in his late years, with a lean build hidden within his robes. As the candle slowly burns, he barely notices any discomfort while kneeling in obeisance. The tempo of the fire's dancing varied in time with the pace of the supplication, slowly and quickly, quickly and slowly. I offer this sacrifice in completion of my vows to the Red Lady, to the Crimson Hunger, to the Scarlet Maw, to Mother Murder, to the Ever-Thirsting One. Make me strong to the slaughter. Make me cunning in the kill. Make me talented in torture. Accept this morsel and be pleased, I pray. Just before the candle burned out, a large gout of fire erupted from the wick. Writhing luxuriously in the blood-tinged flames is the image of a shapely woman's torso, dancing within flowing locks of congealed blood. The figure turns to face the supplicant and gives an inviting, mischievous smile, for a blinding flash of scarlet light fills the room. In the aftermath, silence and scorch marks. The goddess is pleased. Okay, so there you have it. What did you guys think of the narrative for this particular group? It really was a very interesting process to coming up with the name for these guys. The Fang of Vritessenqua. It actually was going to be something else. I think I was going to call it Vritessenqua or something like that, but I think Vritessenqua sounds a lot better. So it's kind of a hard name to say, but I think it kind of fits, especially when you get to the part when I actually do the description of her. I think you kind of will agree with that. But I thought that these guys would actually be the perfect kind of group, a group of like psychopaths, a group of like assassins, a group of killers and stuff like that. And the whole process of how they actually can create this particular candle and offer it as a sacrifice in accomplishment to their vow to the goddess. Like say they're walking down the street and they see a person that they want to kill. So what they do is they probably will offer a prayer to Vritessenqua. Mother Murder, I offer this particular individual to you. I promise to have her dead within, say, 3 days, or just something like that. And then after they've killed the person, they take his blood, take the person's blood, they take a lock of their hair, and then they go through the ritual of creating the crimson votive, and then they offer that to the goddess. And if she approves, they will get a blessing. They'll get maybe see a vision of her or something like that. I thought it would be interesting if they were all male, because seeing how she's a female, I figured because you know, guys, we kind of go gaga for girls and stuff like that. And the simple fact that she's like a very beautiful female, I figured that this would kind of entice men into joining her service. Again, this is not something that you need to stick to. You can make it anything. You can make it an all-female. You can make it a co-ed type of sect. But I figured it was all male, that they would kind of like, maybe be simping a little bit to get the attention and favor of the goddess. Also, I left the final form of those who actually please the goddess kind of open to interpretation. And I mean by that, I mean the guys who would become the hands of Vritessenqua. It'd be like the kind of like say the yoke hole of Lilith, but these would actually be kind of actually her actual hands. So I didn't really draw those or make any concept art for those. I kind of let that up for you guys to have to decide how you want to do them. If you do decide you want to do that, I would love to see how people have drawn those, if they have. If you are following this and if you are inspired by any of these ideas, please use hashtag Worldbuild and any of your art that you can put on either on just about any of the social medias. I'm pretty much all on all of them. I would love to see it. I would like to shout you out just so we can kind of maybe build on this type of idea, or on the other past idea, my example project. Either one of those would be great. Again, I would be honored and stoked to see it. So if you have done anything by it, if you have been inspired by them, again, please do so. On to the use cases for these guys. And one of them I actually liked was the fact that, seeing as how they already make a vow to kill XYZ person, well, why not use them as either bounty hunters or assassins, or say like wealthy or people who can actually pay their price. See, and seeing as how they're already going to be offering it as a sacrifice anyway to the goddess, why not have them make a little bit of money as well? So the cult of Vritessenqua actually kind of grows. It gets money, it gets power, it gets prestige, because it makes a kind of a service to the greater society. I didn't even think about that. I had a feeling like it was going to be like some kind of underground cult, but now that I think about it, they actually are an actual part of the actual society that they come from. Now, I didn't delve into a kind of world where they lived in. I think I left that more or less up to the mindset of the person who's going to be using this. If you think this could fit into a world, or when you read this, you actually can come up with a world where these kind of guys would be used, yeah, feel free. Yeah, let me know. Again, you can use them, say, in like a game development. You can actually use them, say, like for a real-time strategy. One of them, I actually have it as an idea where they actually are kind of like the stealth killing units of an alien race faction. And I'll delve a little bit more than that going towards the latter part of the video here. And you'll probably see where I'm going with that. Now that I have the people who actually use the votive, now we have to go through the means of actually creating it. And this also I thought was pretty cool. And so I hope that you like this idea as it comes about as well. In a room dimly lit by the light of the moon, a lone figure kneels. From within the darkened folds of its robes, a jagged-looking implement is withdrawn. The pulsating glow of the object begins to fill the room and reveals it to be a wickedly curved, bladed weapon. He stares lovingly at the weapon while he holds it out in front of him. The blade's light begins to pulsate rapidly as a single drop of crimson-colored fluid forms at its tip. Drawing a small circle on the rough wooden floor, the man murmurs almost imperceptibly. He raises the weapon higher in the air, and more blood flows from the weapon, completely filling the circle. The Blessed Fang. I thought that this was a pretty cool addition to the Fangs of Vritessenqua. These guys kind of have to be stealthy. They can't really leave a whole bunch of traces, stuff like that. So I was thinking, okay, well, how can they actually do that? And then I thought about it. Well, okay, why not have it do like kind of like a mosquito's proboscis, where they actually suck up the blood inside of the weapon to actually make the crimson votive. So that way they're not leaving like a huge mess. I mean, of course it's going to be kind of bloody because they're kind of like sick and like psychos or whatever, and they're just basically just bad dudes. But if they were like Jack the Ripper, well, you know, like nobody actually figured out who Jack the Ripper was, because they figured he was like some kind of a doctor or something like that, but they never really caught him. So I figured he was like maybe a normal looking guy by day, and he real kind of walked around. He was like probably like a big pillar of the community or something like that, but no one really knew he was really a psychopath, because he was able to do what he needed to do and put it like maybe in some kind of a bag or something like that, where the traces of the blood, whatever it was, couldn't be found. You know what I mean? You can read the write-up for it. A lot of interesting tidbits that can be offered with that, and at least ideas that I think people can take and maybe morph into their own kind of concept with it. Now, you don't necessarily have to use it with the Fangs of Vritessenqua. You can just use it as that's one idea I had. You can just be like one of those sentient weapons, like say the sword that was in R.A. Salvatore's Driz the Drow series. I believe it's called Kazet Day, I believe. It's a sentient sword that slowly drives a person mad and like takes over their personality and makes them into like this kind of like this killing machine, something of that nature. So now that we have the actual votive, we have the person giving the votive, and the means of actually creating it. So now, I introduce to you, this is my first time actually creating an actual deity, so I hope you like it. This is the goddess Vritessenqua, a wandering spirit from another plane of existence, a disgraced minion of an elder eldritch deity beyond the ken of mortal men, a wraith of a vengeful woman seeking retribution. There have been a great deal of debate and discussion about the origins of the demon goddess Vritessenqua. Much as a chaotic tangle of rumor, myth, and conjecture, it is a story lost to the mists of time. What is known is that her worship has spread among many of the sentient species of creation, civilized and barbaric, humanoid or not. Her worshippers are violent, sadistic, and bloodthirsty. The mayhem and carnage they cause is a display of their eternal love. All their efforts offer a bloody cup of devotion to the endless thirst of the goddess. She is called by many names: Mother Murder, the Scarlet Maw, the Red Lady, the Ever-Thirsting One. Her domain is called the Sanguine Maelstrom, a dimension where an eternally swirling storm of blood and viscera rages as far as the eye can see. In the center of this tempest is the Red Lady, reveling within and controlling all the chaos. Okay, so now this is the first time I've actually decided to create a deity. So I decided that because the fangs are literally a part of her, that she would be something that actually just constantly generates an endless supply of these things. In one of her avatars, she is basically just a great big mouth. It's like a shark to the infinite scale of what a shark would be. Because you know how sharks have rows and rows of teeth. No, in her case, it's one great big mouth that just has all these weird kind of teeth in it. When she gives these fangs to her followers, she's not losing anything. It just comes out of her mouth and she gives it to them. And this is the reason why they come out in different sizes, because all of her teeth aren't necessarily going to be just one size fits all. They're anything that can actually draw blood. I decided to make her domains or spheres of influence of bloodlust, torture, and mayhem. So now bloodlust people can understand because, killing and everything else. Torture, maybe people would not think, because I gave her the alignment of chaotic evil. Because she's chaotic, people will think, well, torture, and people use that either for punishment or to gather information or things like that, or for indoctrination, yada yada. So it's kind of more of a lawful evil type of thing. But torture in and of itself, while it can be used as a tool by some kind of institution, there are some people who just like torturing just because they like it. They're just sadistic and they just like inflicting pain and suffering on people like that. So hearing the person crying and screaming and just cutting into them and delaying their inevitable kill, that is the thing in and of itself. So that's the part of torture that I decided to do it. Now, mayhem, of course, I didn't want to go with too much insanity. I think mayhem sounded a little bit better. I don't know, maybe I might change that. If you don't like the term mayhem, and maybe some people won't, you can change it to whatever, it doesn't matter. But these were kind of an idea of what I thought would go well with her. In terms of how you can use her, of course, you can use her in any kind of tabletop campaign. I actually decided to make her an intermediate to greater deity, maybe the supreme deity for your campaign. And I also decided that if you wanted to use her as, say, the faction leader in a real-time strategy game, you could kind of think of it as the Horde. She actually is the queen, the god queen of her particular race, and she has psychic control over all of her spawn and so many different kind of narrative elements that you go with this. What I was thinking in regards with one of the fangs of Vritessenqua, he has a change of heart and he sees what he's doing is bad, and he tries to leave the cult, and the cult members try to hunt him down because the goddess is displeased. Whoever can kill this guy actually can get her favor and stuff like that. So he has bounty on his head, kind of the way Lolf wanted to have Driz Duerden hunted down because he didn't do what she liked, and so now he's kind of a marked man, more or less, by the cult of Lolf. I hope that you enjoyed this. This might be a little bit longer than my last one because there was a lot of different thoughts and a lot of different ideas that I wanted to kind of maybe present to you with this. So with that in mind, if you did enjoy this video, I hope that you did, please like, share, comment, leave any ideas that you can think for this video or even for the last one in regards of like how you would use them, what you would use them. If you have any questions in regards with this, the post that I have for this again has the link that you can download this actual folder with all these ideas in it and suggestions with it as well. Again, you can do it for free. Only thing I ask again is please attribute my website and also my YouTube channel. And if you've been inspired to say make any kind of say stories, art, even music, games, whatever, with any of the material that's used within it, hashtag Worldbuild inspired. Again, I'm following those on social media, so if you've done anything with it, I do want to shout you out. And so we can kind of maybe, you know, get this thing to grow a little bit and maybe inspire other people to maybe do something similar, or maybe even we can create a kind of nice little community with something about this. But on that note, I hope you have a great day. I hope that you enjoyed it. And I also hope to see you again. Have a great one.